Okay, we're here with Precious and George. I'm just kidding. Parker is his name. And Precious is probably not going to participate a little as much. She's not as active. But one of the problems that the guardians want to fix is the dogs rushing the door. So I just went through some rules and structure, ways to incorporate structure and boundaries off camera. And we're going to use the escalating consequences I just went through to disagree with the dogs from approaching the door. I'm going to establish a boundary around the door. And I'm going to use the third escalating consequence, moving towards the dog, to move the dog back behind the boundary before I open the door. Now, when we have people come to our door, we have a tendency to just go and answer it, and it's one fluid step. It's actually a whole bunch of little steps. If you have a dog that has a behavior that you don't want, you want to break it down into individual steps. So I'm going to go ahead and have you come around this way. I'm going to break down answering the door in individual steps. But the first thing I'm going to do is make sure the dogs are back. Now, George likes to hump, or I keep on saying George, sorry, Parker likes to hump Precious because Precious can't really move around. So when I'm doing this, I'm keeping my back towards the door and my hips are towards the dogs. And I'm stopping in between each step. When I get to the door, I'm going to break down and answer the door in individual steps. First step is the deadbolt. So watch him. As soon as he heard the deadbolt, he stopped and wanted to come over. So I'm going to recreate this one over and over again so that he can hear it. Now, when we're doing this, I would like the person outside to ring the doorbell and knock every 10 seconds. I think he thought when he heard me doing this, he stopped doing it. So the first step is just this one. And you notice now he's not rushing the door. So now I'm going to go to the next step, and this is the door handle. I want to make it as noisy as possible so that he hears it and is able to practice not coming here. So again, I'm breaking down individual steps and teaching him this is the behavior I want you to just demonstrate during each step. The next step is to actually open it a little bit. So I'm going to open it a crack. Next step is I open it all the way. And I'm keeping my back to the door and my hips are pointed towards the dogs. Now the dogs are already up here. Actually, that one you were supposed to leave close. Sorry, because we want to use this one as well. Now let's say when I'm walking back, I'm going to close this, John. I'll be right back. So let's say that the dogs, let's say that Parker is here and Precious is there. When I come over here, if he's jumping up against the door, I come over here, I insert myself between him and the door, and I'm walking towards him. I'm like a soccer goalie. I'm not going to let him go by me. Now, if this area is too big to defend, we can use our environment to make it a smaller area. So you might move, I would probably move it actually over here. So now this is a smaller area for me to defend. So I'm going to keep marching towards him until he crosses the boundary on this side and keep my hips pointed towards him. Then I'm going to take a step back and I pause. Step back and I pause. When I get to the door, I break it down individual steps. Not interested now. Then I usually shift to this side, open it a crack. Then I take a step forward as I open it. Then I'm going to step back here. Then I'm going to open it up, invite my guest to come on in. John, come into your own home. I'm going to have the guest stay behind me. Wherever he goes, my hips are pointed at him. Now you have to define how far away he can go. Do you guys own the home? You might want to put down painter's tape temporarily so he knows exactly where it is. Now, if you have somebody who comes over who is not a dog person, the dogs do not get to interact with him. They cannot, that's awesome, sitting down on the carpet. So the dogs can't interact with the guests until the guest crosses wherever the boundary is. Here, I usually like to be about 10 feet away from the door, so probably about in here would be ideal. But you could do it here as well because they're little dogs. Yeah. So you march toward them until they get on this side of the line, and that's where we stop enforcing the line so they know where the line is. Now, if he tries to go around it, I have to beat him here. Don't let him go around you. And then when we invite our guests to come in behind us, what we're saying is if you want to get to them, you got to go through me. Now, let's say this is a relative, and I want to give a hug or a kiss. So if I want to give a hug, I would turn my torso and keep my head facing here and give a hug. If I want to give a kiss, I'm going to turn my head but keep my torso. Don't worry, John, I'm not going to kiss you. But this way, one above or below the neck, I'm presenting some authority to the dogs. Like I mentioned off camera, dogs are very big about what they see us do. This helps them see us taking over the leadership role, and security for the pack is a big job for the dog. Normally, he's not standing back there he's not laying down back there, and whenever you're in the house, he's right next to you, correct? So this is very difficult for him to stay away. But we're teaching him some self-restraint control because there's nothing but air between him and he's doing the work. After he does this a whole bunch of times, what will happen is he'll come and sit right here at the line and be like, you guys gonna go answer the door or what? Now, here's the trick. When this happens, usually and I started a little bit too early, we're painting, and we're cooking, and we're watching TV, and we're on a phone call. And then somebody comes to the door. We don't want people to hear our dogs bark. We rush. We got to turn the TV off and hang up the phone and turn on the stove and then get in it, wash our hands and close it. The dog look at a frenzy they're in. So what I have you guys do, when you're coming home, text her. Door exercise. You text back yes. So you know he's going to be the one knocking on the door. It's going to happen in the next 2 minutes. So you wash your hands. You turn the stove down. You leave the TV up and you pretend like you're still on the phone. You want to mimic these things. But you're not caught by surprise. You're ready, so your timing is much better. And then after you've done this enough times, like I said, the doorbell rings, and he just comes to the edge of the carpet, and it's like, go answer the door. It'll take some repetition, but this is one of my favorite exercises to take because it usually is only about 12 times, and then the dog waits there. Now, this is different because it's us. It doesn't have you guys' baggage. So make sure you're assertive when you're moving towards them. We don't want to be aggressive. We don't want to step on them, but if you're too soft, like, or keep on saying to her, Parker, oh, Parker. No.
Get him a tattoo.
If you're, no, not for me. No, we don't like tattoos. But, and we just want him to see that you have it under control or you have it under control. And you're not worried about if it's him. It's a real guest and you're worried. You're like, I don't want my guest to hear that. It's John. John's in on it with me. So I can take my time. I can be very confident. And I can be very calm about this and handle answering the door on my own. I love the fact that he's laying down. You can pan over to him. So now this is his favorite person, but I mean, we'll go ahead and ring the doorbell again real quick, John. Oh. 5 bucks. And you hear that little frustration? Kind of an under his breath sort of thing. I would be charging the door. I would be jumping up on this person and letting him know. By increasing the distance, we lower the intensity because he's further away. So this is something I'd like you guys to practice at least once a day. At first just with you guys, and then if you have a neighbor, that's even better. If you can practice it if somebody comes in and then actually leaves without coming in, it doesn't always represent when the doorbell rings, somebody's coming in the house. Sometimes it just means we play this little door exercise and the person goes away. So after a while, like I said, they'll wait behind the boundary. You don't have to worry about them running away. And every time you answer the door, you're demonstrating to them that you are the authority figure. This is how I like to claim the door.